You're listening to Wet Shaving Talk, powered by Sharpologist.com, where we're dedicated to preserving the art and skill of classic shaving. I'm your host, Joe Borrelli, and today is July 14th, 2025. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. And boy, do we have a good show for you today, guys. I've got some interesting stuff going on in the wet shaving world that I am very excited to talk about. We'll just get right into it. We've got a new razor from Razor Emporium that debuted on July 4th. I thought that was a really cool, definitely cool marketing campaign for this razor, and definitely was a good time to launch it. And we just started to see a few of the first video reviews actually come out 2 nights ago, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. The conversation of the week is wet shaving scams are on the rise, and this is something that I've noticed a lot. I've been seeing a lot. It's a lot in general with a lot of things going on out there, and with a lot of hobbies and stuff. But we've seen it in wet shaving more and more often. How to defend yourself, what to look for. I'll tell you everything that I know about that. Yes, I have been scammed in the past. Best cheap wet shaving products. This was a thread on Badger and Blade that I really thought was interesting. Best cheap wet shaving products, meaning stuff that I would say would be under $20. What are your go-tos? I have a go-to for each category that I wanted to discuss with you. And is it okay to use cheap stuff, or is it against the wet shaving collector's motto? No, it's not, and I'll tell you why. And collector series from Aliworks. These razors are incredible looking. I just recently saw a couple of them come out, and I saw the kind of like the archives on their website, and most of them are one-off, so they do a couple of versions of them, but it's really a lot of craftsmanship on that, really interesting pictures, and I thought it was a cool concept, so I want to discuss that as well. So guys, without further ado, let's get on with the show. So Razor Emporium came out with a new razor called The Page. The Page is a razor that is 100% made by them in their warehouse, and it's a CNC machined razor from aluminum, and it's actually it's a 3-piece razor, and it's completely made by CNC machining, and I guess they anodize it in different colors if you want to do that. And comes in new packaging with Razor Emporium or Rex and Razor are the same company, as you guys know. And it comes with their blades and ready to go. And it's actually a reasonable price, under $200. So a lot of people have been talking about this razor. And it debuted, the pre-order was on July 4th. So I thought it was really cool for the debut on July 4th. All-American razor. It's actually under $100. I'm sorry. I thought it was $175. It's $75. And the first reviews came in. They're a little bit of a milder razor, but it looks like I have a feeling that Matt and his team at Razor Emporium are going to come out with something a little bit more aggressive or milder or different versions of aggressiveness with these razors, because they can, with now completely making the razor in-house. So this razor is not like the other ones made out of stainless steel. Again, it's made out of aluminum, anodized in different colors, so you can get a different color. I believe this one was black that I'm looking at. And it is made completely in-house with their new CNC machine. I know you guys know we talked about it a few months ago, about them purchasing the machine and learning from I believe it was Gates, that the other razor company that taught them how to use it, and they've been using that CNC machine since. So here's the final product, and let's see. A custom razor made in the United States for $75. I think it's a pretty good deal. So good luck, Razor Emporium, with this new razor. Thank you for bringing it to us. We always love new items, and look forward to seeing some more reviews. As I saw just the first 2 or 3 come out yesterday, and they posted it on their website. So check it out, guys, if you're interested. RazorEmporium.com. Moving along to the conversation of the week, which is something I think I'm surprised I haven't mentioned it sooner. I think it's a big deal, and I think it's something that we need to watch out for, because it is becoming very more and more common than we thought. So scams are definitely on the rise in the shaving world, which is something that I thought I'd never, ever would have to cover this. When I started wet shaving, I noticed how great the community was. I I was helped out by so many people. Like, so many guys gave me a hand when I first started. They're like, yeah, let me send you this, let me send you that. So there was so, like, the friendship, the it was just so nice. Everybody was so cool with the wet shaving world, and I thought, this is the hobby I want to be in, because of there was no scams and it didn't seem like there was any problems. Well, after about 10, 15 years of wet shaving, guys, wet shaving becoming mainstream, there have been some scams out there. And a couple guys have been reporting that, hey, I got scammed out of a razor, I got scammed out of some money, I got scammed out of a trade. So here's a few things to do to make sure keep yourself safe in the wet shaving world when you are working with the BST or selling through an individual and not going through like an approved vendor or like a secondary site such as Amazon, eBay, or something like that. So here's what I do, and I recommend that if you have any other notes or anything like that, please definitely send them to me, but I recommend you guys do the same. So number one, do your research. Understand what you're purchasing. Know it inside and out. If you are purchasing something that's high-end, such as an expensive razor or a brush or something along those lines, make sure you do your research on the item and the seller. Understand that the item might be counterfeit. Not so much in the wet shaving world. I think we don't see many fake items, right? We don't see a lot of fakes, but we do see items that may not be damaged, or you may never get it in general. Like I say, oh, it got lost in the mail, or I never sent it. Or you may do a trade and somebody may say, yeah, I'm going to send it to you, and then you never get yours. That happened to me. That's what happened to me. So do your research on both the seller and on the item itself. Now, if this seller is somebody that you do not know and have no affiliation with, or your friends don't know this person either, then really ask a lot of questions. Say, hey, where are you located? How far are you? When are you going to ship if I purchase this? Do you have any, what type of PayPal or what type of payment you want to use? And just listen to them. There's a couple of things that they may say that will honestly turn you on or off to the transaction, and we'll go over that in the next two steps. Avoid purchasing from overseas if you do not know the person. There is just now granted, guys, I am all about international sales. Wet shavers are all over the world, but the problem is, guys, with international shipping, it can get lost in the mail a lot easier than it can if you ship domestically. So I would avoid a seller that's outside of the country if you do not know them, or you're not backed by some form of protection, such as PayPal or Amazon, eBay, somebody that can protect you so you actually can get your money back if that item never shows up, right? So avoid overseas unless you know the person. And when you do ship overseas, or they are going to ship to you from another country, make sure that you use one of the DHL shipping service, or DHL or another big service that works. So DHL is guaranteed. It's international. You can buy from anywhere. It's quick, and it may be a little bit more expensive, but you can almost guarantee you will get your item with that. So I recommend using a major shipping service such as them if you do actually purchase from overseas. Always use goods and service when paying with PayPal. Never send friends and family. This person that you're buying the razor from, or you're buying their soap from, or a brush, they are not your family. They are not your friend. Pay the fee and get the protection. It's a transaction. So therefore, you will be protected if your item doesn't come by PayPal for a certain amount, and you can file a claim if you don't get it. If the seller does not want to go PayPal goods and services, and you're willing to pay the fee, run. Because this person is definitely scamming you. Nobody will ever say no to that, especially when you're covering the fee and they're getting the same amount of money that they should be getting. It's a percentage. Make sure you just figure it out properly and pay the person the right fee. If they say no to that, flag, leave the transaction right away. Just say thank you very much no matter what, and only avoid doing any business with that person unless they are local and you want to just go meet up with them and then pick it up, right? Because I have a feeling if you do that, you're not going to get your razor back, or your soap or your brush. You're not going to get your item, and you're going to lose your money because it's friends and family, and you can't get it back. You can't track it. Ask for references. If you're dealing with somebody on the BST on a forum, ask them for references. Say, hey, do you have any other past sales? Do you have anybody that I can contact? And then contact that person if they do. Just send them a quick message or an email and say, hey, I'm looking to purchase a razor. Would you vouch for this? Did you have a good transaction? If they did, that person will definitely jump and say, yes, I did. I had a great transaction. They're good. I highly recommend them. If they didn't, then I would say if they say no, it's not a good transaction, or they don't respond, then it might be another part of the scam. I would probably stay away. So just be safe in that area, guys, especially with the references. Make sure you know the other person's not their friend or anything like that, and then just ask them, a few questions. Hey, I just need a few minutes of your time. What's up with this guy? Is he good? Can I trust him? Did you have a good interaction with him? Done. So really, in short, guys, make sure you protect yourself. A few things, like I said, never use goods and services when you're doing a sale. Always use a reputable shipping service, such as DHL if it's overseas, USPS, UPS, FedEx. I like to do stuff FedEx now because I think it's quicker. I don't mind paying a little bit extra money because USPS is slow, right? It's not very quick sometimes. But you know what? As long as I'm protected, I'm good, right? If the person puts it in a flat rate box, it's protected for up to a couple $100. You're good. But for high-end transactions, definitely you want to work on doing that as well, and just making sure that you get your item with the proper amount of insurance and everything, so you are protected. And so is the seller. The seller also is investing in you. A couple of other points of advice for this, guys, is when if you're into watches, which I know a lot of you guys are. One thing with watches is it's way worse than wet shaving with getting counterfeit, fake, not authentic pieces, especially with Rolex watches. So I know a couple of guys. I watch a lot of YouTubers, and one guy always says, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Luxury Bazaar. It's a pretty cool YouTube channel. A lot of people like the guy; they hate him. But the guy who runs the company, Roman, says never. And I like this advice: buy the seller, not the watch. Right. So I'm saying buy the seller for the razor or the brush, not the watch, or not the razor itself. Buy the seller. Right. If you know a good seller, you're going to get a good product. You can rest assured your product will come in good shape. Another couple things, guys, is with shaving brushes. Make sure, because brushes are astronomical in price right now, make sure you get a lot of pictures and and ask these questions. Make sure it does not shed, it doesn't have any scratches or have dings in it or chips, because this will totally ruin your experience with buying a shave brush from a seller, especially if you're spending a lot of money. So just ask those questions. Make sure you take a look at it. You could see, if you could start seeing some hairs on the brush rising up over the other ones, that means the brush is shedding, and that means you want to stay away. If you look at the handle and you see any chips, cracks, or anything, blemishes or anything like that, stay away, because it's a bigger problem. So just make sure you watch yourself, because that's the item I got burned on, was a shaving brush where I got it and was shedding like crazy, and I tried to say, hey guy, man, I got this brush that's not doing too good, and the guy disappeared. So I never could find him again, and I was out. Luckily, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was still, you felt like you were taken, so it still wasn't a good experience. But, I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. Shaving brush is important. Make sure you do your due diligence on that. That's one of the ones that I think come the most damaged, or the most deviated from the actual listing itself, right? And not a good way. So moving along, guys, there's a lot of talk about best cheap wet shaving products on the forums right now, which I thought was really cool. I am a fan of cheap stuff, and that doesn't mean that it's not good stuff, right? Cheap stuff, and I'm not talking about $40, $50. I'm talking about $10 and maybe $20, under $20. So a couple guys are like, what are your best wet shaving products under $20? Cheap stuff. And some of them are really good. Some of them, hey, not so much. And just usually it's not so much the quality level. It's just the material level. So a cheap safety razor might be made of plastic instead of metal. A cheap brush might be, again, cheap, would maybe boar hair and plastic for the handle instead of maybe something turned really cool and badger. And then there's some really cool, like, over-the-counter, drugstore, Walmart, grocery store, like aftershaves and lotions that are really good too. So here are my top 3 cheap items under $20. Some of them are, I think 2 of them, actually all of them are under $10. So here they are. Vanderhagen Soap, the original one. You can't see too much of that anymore. That was my favorite all-time cheap soap. I know it smelled pretty bad. It was nice and fresh smelling, I thought. And for some reason, like, I went to go use mine the other day, and I don't have any more. I ran out. So I used up mine, and I went to go buy it, and I noticed that they only do the luxury one now. I can't find the regular unless I want to pay like $30 or $40. Kind of like what happened to Williams. They discontinued it. So I was like, oh, man, that's a bummer. I really like that soap, but it looks like I'm just going to have to move on from it. So Vanderhagen Soap, under $20, under $10, I think is a great soap for cheap stuff, readily available for the new one, the luxury edition. I think it's in like a black box. You can buy it on, I think Target has them in stock. You can get it on Amazon. But yeah, I love Vanderhagen products. For a razor, Gillette PermaSharp D. This razor is like, honestly, it's like $8 here in the United States, but in other places like $3. This double-edged razor comes with blades. It's made of plastic, and I think some of them have metal on it. The more expensive one's like got a metal head. But they're really good for what they are. They're nice and mild. They shave well. Great to travel with. Great to they're good for head shaving, right? I'm not a big fan of the blades it comes with. But if you use your own blades, I mean, it's actually a really good razor for like $7 or $8 shipped to your house. And that's overpaying for it, I think. I think it's more of a $3 or $4 razor. But it definitely keeps double-edged razors in the affordability category. And I think it's really cool to try them out and use it. And it is cool to buy a Gillette Razor brand new that's readily available with blades for under $10. So, yep, the Gillette PermaSharp 7 o'clock series. And finally, for an aftershave, I got to go with grocery store or Walmart, big box store, Old Spice. Guys, Old Spice is always classic. I think it's still, even though the new formula is different and not a lot of people like it compared to the old one, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. It's good, and it works well, and that classic scent is just nice. It is a nice, refreshing scent sometimes to have. So I'm going to go for the aftershave, definitely going with Old Spice. So what are some of your cheap products? Let me know. Just send me an email at joe.wetshavingnews@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it. And finally, guys, to finish off this podcast this week, Collector Series by Aliworks. This is some amazing stuff. 3D printed, CNC machined, usually with two-tone color. The one on the show notes here, the picture I put, the first one is like an ocean scene, a wave. I think they're textured. They look really cool, and they look really fun. They're a little bit on the expensive side, around $400, and they're usually one-offs, so you'd have to buy a custom. But I do think it's really one of those cool razors out there, and I'm going to showcase more custom stuff here in the future because I think Carbon Shaving does some really good work with some of the Damascus steel stuff and some really different items. Wolfman does some great stuff as well. But really, these razors are fun. These look like a fun razor to shave with and collect. And I thought it was really, really cool that they came out with this. So salute you, Oliworks. Another item that's made in the United States, a small company that's been making some really good pieces and been very popular and getting a lot of reviews out there. So it's Aliworks.com. So check them out, guys, if you get a moment, under the Collector Series, so you can see those pictures and see some more in-depth detail on them and some more versions of it, because I think it's really cool and again, looks like a really fun razor to collect. All right, guys, that concludes the show for this week. Remember, our show is powered by Sharpologist.com, what your father didn't teach you about shaving. Special thanks to Mark Mantic59 for everything that he does for the wet shaving community, and especially for you guys, the listeners, for supporting the podcast we're almost at the 10-year mark. We'll be at 10 years in a few months. So don't forget to check out my blog site, shavestraightandsafe.com, and always feel free to email me at joe.wetshavingnews@gmail.com. And also my book, The Modern Guide to Straight Razor Shaving, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, several other booked websites, and in brick and mortar at the Pasteur's Pharmacy in New York City. And so our next show will be on the 28th of July, guys. Until then, shave straight and shave safe. Bye-bye now.